Good evening and Happy New Year. I'm so glad to see so many familiar faces on this call. I'm glad that there's a lot of new faces on this call and some exciting faces too, because Jules just got her planner today. How cool is that? That's always awesome. And Zamora's jumping up and down. Um, Tonight is going to be the first one from 2021. How cool is that? I was just saying a couple of minutes ago that we've done 12 of these master classes, and it's so nice to see that there's still engagement, you are still interested, and we'll aim to have one every single month for this coming year. We also were thinking with Kirsten that if you have any burning topics, please shoot us to us those topics before or during the month, because there's as much as we have an agenda for the year and we have a plan, we're always happy to mix it up and change it just for the sake of making it relevant to your issues, your problems, and making it a special masterclass every single month. But I thought for the beginning of the year, why not start with the topic, which is goal setting. I mean, I'm sure of that is one of those things that everyone uh, has it at its front of mind. And for some reason, Diane is not being able to jump online. Kirsten, can you please chat to her? So let's talk a little bit about goals. I mean, it is one of those big topics. And I was thinking that just because we have this, I'm not sure about you, but I have at least 5 or 6 challenges and workbooks, and everyone has something to say about goals at this time of the year. I was thinking, let's make that connection between your planner and your goals in this next half an hour, because I think it's one of the most relevant things, especially when you want to use your planner as an amazing tool to help you stay on target and stay on top of your goals. So tonight is going to be a quick insight on how to use your planner when it comes to your goals. And of course, if you own an end planner, then you already know that there's special spaces for your goals. If you own a wellness advocate planner, then just open to a double page that shows you your weekly view, and you will see that there's specific boxes for your goals, for the different things that you need to build in your business. If you have a regular end planner, of course, then you will have the 3 little boxes everywhere that are all about your goals and actions. And of course, if you have any other planner, My Life Planner, or any other planner, there's still going to be prompts towards goals. Why? You might ask. Because I find that one of the biggest issues is that we don't do the most important out of the 3 things. First of all, you have to set your goals. Then, of course, you have to write them down, and you have to review them. These are the 3 things that you have to do with goals. And one of the most important ones is, don't keep them in your head. Put them down, write them down somewhere, because if you don't write them down, you're not committing to them. Anything and everything that lives just in our head is not out there. There's no chance to work towards it. There's no chance to stick to it. There's no chance to actually treat it as a real goal. So one of the most important things that you will do with your goals is to write them down somewhere where you can access them on an everyday basis. Now, uh, and this pretty much covers it, covers the why do we need to think about them. Um, it's simple. Without goals, and you, those of you who work with me, like Gemma, she's on my big screen. I haven't pinned myself to the second screen. Um, you would know that I always say that not having goals and not sticking to them and not working with your goals is almost like jumping in the car and saying to your car, take me somewhere. How cool is that? There's no GPS on earth that will take you somewhere. You have to actually give it a direction. You have to tell it where to go. Uh, the route that you will take from where you are to where your goals are, Now that's a different story. Now that's an absolutely and totally different story. That's pretty much your plan. That's pretty much uh, what will happen with those goals that you set. So just make sure that before anything, you start with setting those goals, because that is your GPS, that is your direction. Now, you've all heard of this, which is pretty much your SMART goals. And without going into the specifics of what these letters mean, these 5 letters mean, SMART usually stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. I find that as much as we are kind of aware of the specific side of things, we also know that it has to be measurable, so you have to have a number attached to it. We also know that it has to be achievable, because otherwise you will feel bad about it if you don't achieve it. And of course it has to be relevant, because there's no point in setting goals that are not going to take you anywhere. I guess the most important bit from these 5 letters is the 5th one, which is time bound. Why? Because it is the easiest to forget about. And this is, as you all know, it's one of my passions to actually show you how you can use the planner to actually keep your goals timely, and how can you actually find out whether your available time is there to achieve the goals that you were you set for yourself. So the timely bit of the goals is one of the hardest one to keep an eye on, and it is the easiest one to actually just pretend that it's not there. Um, it was so funny because years ago, Lee Cummins came to one of my workshops, and she's an amazing woman. She's the owner of Connect Her. If you don't know, it's a beautiful networking group, and she was just saying, "Oh, goal setting, that's easy. That's so easy." So she straight away went on, she set all her goals, and then she said, oh, "Okay, so now I'm done." And I'm like, "Okay, so do you know how many big working weeks you have in a year?" "Oh, that's easy. 52 minus 4, that's my downtime. I have about 48." And I'm like, not really. Why? And you all know, if you've heard me speak before, that the reality is that we have less time than what we think. And one of the most important things that you need to do, especially at this time of the year, is to go back to your yearly view, that first double page at the beginning of the planner, and make sure that you put in everything that will affect your productivity during the year. Why? Because without that, you will not be able to work out how many working weeks you have. And that will affect exactly this 5th bit, the time bound, time based, time limited bit of your goal. Because if you think that you are setting your goals for 48 working weeks, but the reality will be that you only have, let's say, 42 weeks, there's a 6 weeks difference already. So just make sure that you actually are aware of the exact time that you have available, because that is really, really important. Without that, your goals will never be achievable. They will never be specific. They will never be relevant, because they will be set for a much bigger time than what you already have. So what else? You might wonder now, okay, now I know that I have to be timely, but what to do and where do we start? And this is quite an important bit, because that's how you can feel when you start thinking about your goals. Anyone feels like that from time to time? Come on, tell me that I'm not alone. I can still feel lost like that in my thoughts. Point is that you have to start somewhere, and there's a bit of a method to the madness, and especially if you have a planner, that makes it a little bit easier. I always say that one of the easiest things that you can do is start with the beginning. Start with working out how much time you have available. Now, if you go to that double page and you put in everything, don't forget about all those things that affect productivity, which are not just your holidays or public holidays or the main things, but things like school holidays, which might affect positively or negatively your productivity. Those things that you think that are not affecting you, but in reality they do have a stamp on your business because it affects your clients. So just make sure that you put everything that might affect your productivity on that double page, and then count. It's so simple. Just you just have to count. And now here's another thing. Some of you on this screen might think, I don't have weeks. It's just not relevant to me. I have days or half days or hours. We've done this exercise with Kirsten about a year ago, and she knew that she's going to have literally hours, working hours per week, not days. We were talking about half a day here, half a day there. Don't be afraid to actually set your own time measurement for productivity. You just need to know how much effective time you have to achieve what you need to achieve, and set the goals according to how much time you have. So once you've done your double page with the year at glance, then start counting how much effective working time you have for the year. Then for the quarter, someone is off mute. And then, of course, every single month, because there's no 2 months that would be alike. Seriously, you cannot compare December when we have maybe 2 weeks with let's say March or February, when we have a full month with no interruption, no public holidays and so on. And before you say, oh, as Matt, public holidays, there's 10 public holidays in Victoria. That's 2 productive weeks gone. So you just have to be aware of it, and make sure that you count how much productive time you have, because Jules, that's pretty much the year at glance. So if you open your planner, on the first page, you will have a bit of blah, 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 lots of little informations. That's the easiest way to describe it. Then, because you have a wellness advocate planner, then you have again a bit of blah, 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 blah around how your wellness advocate business works. And the next bit is pretty much your double page with your year at glance, which has all the months and all the weeks, and you can start playing with your time. So uh it's fairly easy. But if you can't find it, and or if you, well, if you have an end planner, you have it. But if you don't have an end planner and you're on this call, then just simply print off a big yearly planner and start playing with it. It's quite important to work out how much available time you have. Now, the next thing that you need to work out before you even set any kind of goals is your budget. And some of you might think, how does this come here? The reality is that if you are in business, then you are in business for a reason. You want to make money. I hope you agree with me. Come on, I need to see some nodding heads, because I definitely think that you have to, if you are in business, you have to want to make money. So working out your budget is the other big thing. And we had this chat today with Laura. She hates her numbers with vengeance. Uh, but the reality is that without knowing exactly what your business expenses are, so what is your overheads, expenses, and without knowing exactly how much you have to contribute in the household, and some of you obviously are supporting yourself, so it's 100%. For others, it's probably just putting some money towards the family budget. It doesn't matter what your situation is, you need to know exactly how much money you have to withdraw from your business that will actually pay for the bills, not just the business bills, but the household bills. Without that, again, you don't have and you can't set realistic goals. You need to know those numbers. And then, of course, there's the third pocket, which I love, which is the growth pocket. Now, that is the play money. I like calling it the play money, because that allows you to do fun stuff, to invest in a course, to, I don't know, grow your business in some shape or form, hire someone, outsource bits. So that's pretty much the pocket that is not essential for your business to survive, but It's quite important to have clarity around it. And Gemma, just because you are playing in coin, it doesn't mean that you don't have expenses. They might be in coin though. So just saying. So just make sure that you keep an eye on the three pillars. And before you set any kind of goal, work out what your main budget is. First and foremost, add up the business expenses plus the contribution that you have to do towards the household so that you pay for everything. And then add a little bit on top of that, which is your growth pocket. And you'll have a number. And that number has to be the base of your goal setting. And from there, your goal setting can look 100 different ways. For some of you, might translate into different sorts of volumes, because that's how you measure your business growth. For some of you might stay in dollars. For some of you might translate in how many new clients you get, how many people you get in your programs, or how many products are you selling. Or for some of you might even not even have the business expenses bit in it, like Melody, who has no business. She's just simply trying to build a life and build a family, a house, and so on. So just adapt this model to what you have, and what your life works like. Now, once you have your physical number, and I know we don't like it, but we have to be aware of it, your budget and your time, then you need to check in with your goals, the things that you thought you might want to achieve this year. Are they aligned with your budgets? Are they aligned with the available time that you have? If there's any discrepancy within your budget or your time, you need to go back straight away to your drawing board and rethink. Probably your goals are unrealistic. They might be too high, or they might be too low. No matter which end we're talking about, you need to adjust your goals so that they are in sync and they become realistic based on how much available time you have, and whether you will meet the budget that you need. And probably the budget from this perspective is even more important than what we like to admit, because without that, unfortunately, we can't really survive. The big tip in this whole process is knowing your numbers. And if you've been on the journey for us for the past 12 months, then you probably have heard me say this 100 times. Knowing your numbers is essential. You need to know how can you convert. You need to know how much you have to convert. You need to know what your numbers look like, how many clients, how much product, how much volume, and so on you need to have in order to achieve your goals. But if you don't have any numbers because you've just started off, and some of you on the screen I know are at the beginning of the road, then you need to make sure that you use some sort of baseline from somewhere. This is what I call borrow a baseline. Okay, make sure that you actually have something to look at. It might be too high, it might be too low. I don't know. It doesn't really matter as long as it's a number that you can compare to. And once you have some numbers of your own, then you can actually adjust the baseline so that it reflects what your business and your life looks like. Now, what else should you do? You might ask. This sounds very easy and straightforward. Well, if you have a new planner, start with the beginning. The end planner is designed to hold your hand and to take you through a process of actually getting to that space where you can set goals and record them and work with them. But it all starts with reviewing your legend. If you don't have one, then create one. If you use an end planner for a year and you're onto a new planner, now is the time to rethink your colors. You remember how I used to say about a year ago that if you chose some colors, stick to them. If you want to change them, now is the time to change them. Why? Because we want to be consistent with our planner, because otherwise it's very difficult to review. So make sure that you review your legend, and make sure that you know that the legend that you created for this coming year is relevant to what's happening in your life. Now, the second big thing that you need to do is write down your goal. And this is true even if you have an existing planner. Only in that case you have to look at your quarterly goals. But if you have a brand new planner, use the yearly goal setting section and actually put in all your goals, set some dates, think about how you will achieve them and so on, but definitely write down your goals. The third thing that I would say you need to do is review your previous quarter. I know we kind of tend to think, oh, it's new and everything is new, and we look in the future and we are thinking about the big vision, big picture. But please don't forget that you're coming from somewhere, and you have to actually stop and assess what worked, what didn't work, how will it work, what do you need to change, do you need help. Just stop and think about what happened previously. It's really important to make sure that you do a bit of review of the previous quarter or previous year for that matter. And of course, the last bit would be spend some time on your vision board. And I know some of you have done this because we've seen some amazing images on in the group. If you have done a beautiful vision board, please share it with us. It inspires us. I mean, it definitely inspires me because, as you know, I'm a no cut and paste girl. Kirsten is showing something on her little square. But make sure that you really don't skip the vision board. If you think that you're like me and you're not artsy, then make sure that you write down some thoughts. Put something inspiring on those 2 pages. That's not a goal board. It's really all about having some things that would inspire you when you feel down. That's what you need to do with that vision board. So make sure that you're not just skipping it and don't pretend that it doesn't exist. If you have a financial year planner and you've been using your planner for a while now, then this is the time to stop. Stop, breathe, and look and check in with your goals. Go back to your yearly goals, look at them, assess. Are they still relevant? Do you need to change them? Do you need to mold them? Are you on track with them? Just make sure that you stop. And this is me. I have a financial year planner. It's a great moment in time to stop and think and see if everything's okay. Also, review again your previous quarter. Just like I mentioned before, reviewing is the key to stay on target and is the key to actually mold your goals so that you can actually achieve them. And the third thing, again, spend some time on your vision board. It's such a great thing to look at it. Allow yourself to be inspired. Mine is up on the wall, and it's such a great thing to look at it and think, I'm about halfway through to achieve that, or nah, it's so not relevant. And with everything that's been happening in 2020 due to COVID, it actually has rewritten everything I was thinking to achieve this year. There's nothing wrong to scrape what's there and redo it. Seriously. One of the most important things that you need to take on board when you use any kind of planner, not just the end planner, any kind of planner, nothing is set in stone. Seriously, nothing is set in stone. The only good thing about writing down things is that they keep you and hold you accountable. So virtually whatever you wrote down will make you think, is that still relevant? Do I really want to walk in that direction? Is that okay? Do I want to change that direction? It's all about prompting you to move in the right direction and to have the awareness that you need to move in the right direction, so that things don't just happen to you, but you feel in control and you move where you want to move, and it's not just happening to you. I have so many people who come to me and say, oh, it feels like life just, I don't know, it just happens. It's not good enough. It's really not good enough. I really want to feel in control of my own life. And I want to decide if this is the right direction for me. And I want to decide if this is where I want to go. Is this path the right one, or do I need to take another one? Don't let things happen to you. Take control. And having this kind of control actually gives you the freedom to decide. is this the right direction? Is this what I want to do? Is this where I want to go? So if you have a financial year planner, it's the right time to stop and think and reassess. There's very little difference to what you would do with a brand new planner. It's just that you already have some sort of direction and you need to reassess whether that direction is okay. So the quarterly check-in, if you are just starting up using an end planner, well, this is going to become a habit because every quarter does have a beautiful page like this, which prompts you to think about reflections and goals and what was your biggest success, a bit of gratitude, and it actually makes you think about where do you need a bit of help. If you have already an end planner, even if you are transitioning from one and planner into the other, this is essential. Do it. Don't skip it. Sit down and start writing. It's amazing. I find that the space that's on this page sometimes is not enough. This is when I grab some beautiful notebooks like this. This is my Christmas gift from Christine, by the way. And I actually expand my thoughts on it. Don't let the space stop you. This page is really there just to prompt you to start thinking about things and to start looking at things from a different perspective. That's what this whole quarterly check-in is there for. But if you need more space, feel free to go for it. Seriously, don't let it stop you. Adjust where you need and make sure that you reflect a little bit on what happened in this past quarter. And for some of us, it's been quite an interesting quarter. For us, it's been a quarter full of changes. I mean, we separated end planners from the time fix, which is the coaching from the planner itself, which is an amazing and exciting thing to do. And since we've done it, everything is just seems to be growing and blooming, and things move forward. But it's all about this time of the year. It's all about stopping and thinking a little bit. Is this the right direction? Am I going where I want to go? What does the future look like? So don't forget about your quarterly check-in. Now, when it comes to goals and the planner, there's pretty much these are the basics. And of course, we could talk quite a lot more, but we do have limited time. So I was thinking, let's look at some tips and tricks on how else can I help you to stay on target and so on. And one of the things that I like to talk about is, of course, tip one is write down your goals. It helps you commit to achieving them. It helps you keep them at the front of mind. And of course, it connects your plan to the goals. It's really interesting that the moment that you start writing down your goals, suddenly you will have plans arising from those goals. So make sure that you don't just think about your goals, but literally write them down. The second big tip that I would like to give you tonight is keep an eye on your available time, especially once you are rolling with your planner. Or if you have a financial planner, you might be about midway through your planner. Make sure that you keep an eye on your available time. Check in, make sure that you have enough time to achieve what you need to achieve, or if not, you need to adjust. Now, what you need to remember is that big goals need time. And as human beings, and especially as super women as we are, now who's a superwoman? Come on, you know, we all are. We tend to forget that everything takes time. But the reality is that everything takes time. So just make sure that you check in and assess whether you have enough time to achieve what you set your mind to achieve. And if not, what can you do to still stay on track? There's a lot you can do. Outsourcing, delegating, getting someone else on board, growing your team. I don't know. There's hundreds of different little things you can do to still be on target. You just have to realize that you don't have enough time on your own. Now, assess again how much time you have and how much time you need. And trust me, these two are very different things. what you have and what you need usually are two very different things. And as I mentioned before, these two have to be as close together as possible. So make sure that you don't forget that what you need and what you have might not be exactly the same. Ideally, you should have more than what you need. So good. And tip number 3 would be, and this is all about tying into that other bit that I really, really like, which is planning. Um, Work out how you will achieve your goals. Now, here's the thing. What I like doing here is I love playing with numbers. I mean, I don't like numbers, but I know that without playing with my numbers, I will never be able to set myself realistic goals. So I always suggest make sure that you work out your best case scenario, the ideal. You know, if everything works out in an ideal world, what would that look like? And what's the plan? What are the products? How much do you have to sell? And so on. So work out your best case scenario. Then work out your worst case scenario. What if everything goes pear-shaped? What is the bare minimum that you have to achieve? And how will you do that? What is that you must do in order to survive? Okay, so that's your worst case scenario. And then work out a good enough scenario, which is your comfortable middle. Does that make sense? So work out what would still please you, what would still get you in a comfortable place, even though it might not be the growth that you imagined, or the big vision, or the yay, I've done it, like that bit. But definitely have all three. Make sure that you have clarity around what your best case scenario is, what your worst case scenario is, and what would be your comfortable middle. Okay, know your options, have your options clearly in front of you, because that will help you not beat yourself up if you haven't achieved your best case scenario. Because I mean, that had to have all the stars aligned to happen. Okay, so it's okay if something is not exactly there. If I'm close enough to it, then it's still amazing. Because I mean, how many times is everything falling in place like that? It's almost mission impossible. But why not? Let's aim for as big as possible, because why wouldn't we? We have to be allowed to dream, and to to pretend that everything can work out like in a perfect world. Uh, but also, it's really important to know exactly what is your worst case scenario, and what is that bare minimum that you must achieve in order to pay off all the bills, and in order to make a living. So make sure that you not just set your goals, but you play with them a little bit, and you make sure that you have some clear plans on how you will achieve these. Does that help? Yes. Cool. I think it makes sense. I hope it really um, resonated with you, and it shows you how to get there. Now you might ask, what's next? Well, uh, we're off for a big year. This is not the slide, but that's okay. I've rewritten this. But what you see that we do have some special workshops coming up. One of them is the secret to why you don't have enough time. Our next one is going to be on the 26th of March. And this workshop is all about helping you connect who you are as a person with how you treat time. Because sometimes I hear people say, oh, it will never work for me. I don't like planning and I don't know why. It's just, things just happen to me. There's a reason to it. And it has to do mainly with who you are at heart. And knowing that will actually help you treat yourself a bit more kindly. And of course, it will help you set goals in a different manner, and achieve things in a different manner, and treat your time in a different manner. And this workshop is all about that, showing you what's your secret ingredient. Then, of course, keep an eye on our regular workshops. The Blueprint to Life Work Harmony happens now twice a month, once on the first Monday of the month and once on the third Monday of the month. One is in the evening, the other one is in the morning. If you want to reset your thinking around how you look at time, then this is the workshop to come to. And there's a few of you on this screen, like Kylie, who's done it. How many times, Kylie? 7, 8 times? Who counts? And Pooja's done it a few times and so on. So if you haven't been to one of these workshops, yes, it does involve a bit of investment. It is $67. I mean, seriously, I think it's dirt cheap for what it is. But the value that goes in it is amazing because it will reset the way that you think about life and work and how these connect. And of course, there's a new program coming, which is quite exciting. Kirsten doesn't know yet, but I already have some dates in mind on when it will start. Let's put it this way right now. The first one of these series, From No Time to More Time, is going to start at the end of February, which is not too far away. And it's quite and super exciting. And it's all about showing you how to plan, how to use the planner to actually support your plan, and how to create a plan that actually is doable, workable, and it connects with your goals and everything. And how can you create time in your busy weeks, because in the end, that's what we want. We want a bit more time for ourselves, for our families, for those dreams, for anything and everything that is precious to us. So that's coming pretty much at the end of February. And of course, don't forget, we have every first Monday of the month at 8 p.m. the master classes are on, and every month we will tackle a subject a little bit from a different perspective. And of course, if you don't have your planner yet, it's still not too late because we actually create them by hand. It's never too late to get one, and there's a few different options there. There's the classic end planner, wellness advocate planner for those oily ladies and girls in um, your entourage. There's a My Life planner, which kind of took off. There's a lot of people who love it. There's the study planner, which is not even online, but if you know about it, it's a well-kept secret. I just haven't put it online, so it is what it is, but it will go online soon. And of course, the Networkers Planner for those of you who really want to focus on networking as the main business tool to grow your business. And with saying that, that's pretty much it for tonight. Thank you very much for being on this call, and stay on if you would like to have a chat and if you have questions, because we're going to be on with Kirsten for a little while, and we'll try to answer any questions you might have. But we are so grateful to have you on the screen tonight, and that's pretty much it.